Hello, travelers. Boardman21 here, and today's build is the Disintegrator. This is going to be a Sorcerer build that's based around Disintegrate, dealing damage over time, and it's getting most of its damage from an interaction between the Gambler's Fallacy, a low-level unique that you get from doing a quest, as long as you return that quest to Artem the Gambler early in Chapter 2, and 𝐒𝐤𝐦𝐬𝐻, which is an offhand catalyst, which is going to be total RNG that can fall for you at any time. So if you don't have that unique, this build won't really work at all without it. It will technically work, but your damage is going to be about 10 times less, so it really won't work. However, once you have those pieces, one of which, Gambler's Fallacy, you can get on every character that you've done, and the other, the 𝐒𝐤𝐦𝐬𝐻, if you have one and you want to play this on softcore and already have the unique ready to go, you can transition over to this at any time as soon as you can wear those uniques. Gambler's Fallacy being low level, and 𝐒𝐤𝐦𝐬𝐻, I believe, is around level 40 something. I'm not 100% on that. I'd have to look again, but you can, as soon as you can wear both of them, the build comes together quite well. Now, this isn't going to be the tankiest build in the game. While it will have a ton of leech, so you can replenish your life, and you will take additional less damage or multiplicatively less damage while you are channeling, 35% less damage from Disintegrate itself, and you can get additional armor while channeling. You can get spell leech from Rayah Timeline as a blessing. A lot of those things together can make you a lot more tanky. A few of those things I don't even have on the character that's shown in the gameplay, so you can definitely get much more tanky than I am here. However, it did complete empowered content quite well. Orbis can be a bit of a challenge, especially depending on what skills Orbis has, but overall, it was a pretty fun build to play, and this is an updated form of it from a few patches ago. So let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, I'm running Arcane Ascendance, Focus, Teleport, Flame Ward, and Disintegrate. For Arcane Ascendance, this is not a skill that you have to use. You can go ahead and trade it out with anything else. However, when you want to do maximum damage to a single target, you can always pop this on top of Disintegrate since you're standing in place anyways, and you can go ahead and do a lot more damage, especially if you take additional hits and get additional spell damage from it. For Arcane Ascendance, if you do decide to use it, this is how I have it spec'd, with 5 points in Higher Plane, 2 points in Arcane Absorption, 5 points in Power Overload, 1 point in Unstable Energy, 3 points in Power Sprint, 3 points in Rebuff, and 1 point in Alchemy. For Focus, we have this set up to get mana back. Now, you won't struggle with mana unless you're doing a single target high health rare or a boss. The reason for that, you get mana back on every kill that you do with Disintegrate, and Disintegrate is what's getting all of the kills. So if you kill a pack of trash mobs in a single hit, you're going to refill basically all of your mana. You're going to get a ton of mana for it, and because of that, running Echoes is really easy. Doing Arena is really easy. The times you get stuck is when you have to do multiple high health mobs and you're not getting any kills. That's when you'll run out of mana and have to use Focus. The way we have Focus set up here is for additional armor, damage reduction, and of course haste. We got 4 points in Mana Flooded, 1 point in Desperate Meditation, 4 points in Revelation, 1 point in Energy Infusion, 1 point in Resolute Stance, 5 points in Prismatic Stance, and 4 points in Iron Stance. For Teleport, we have this set up for buffs as well as decoys and a little bit of elemental damage boosts. We got 5 points in Resonant Plasma for that fire, lightning, and stun avoidance. We got 1 point in decoy position, 1 point in unexpected copy. So we make 2 decoys when we teleport, which can help take the aggro away from you in some cases. 5 points in elemental affinity for 50% increased elemental damage. 5 points in crystalline passage for that cold resist and flat armor. And 3 points in time dilation to make all those buffs last just a little bit longer. For Flame Ward, we have this set up to get a bunch of ward. We also have it set up not to retaliate. We do not want it to retaliate. You want to do 0 crits at all times. You don't want anything to do any damage. So if you do change out your Arcane Ascendance to something like Ice Barrage, it can be a bad idea because you're going to crit with Ice Barrage, and that's going to make it to where Gambler's Fallacy is not giving you the additional damage with the interaction with 𝐒𝐤𝐦𝐬𝐻. So you do not want to retaliate with Flame Wards. We have 5 points in Star Ward Defense, 3 points in Concentrated Shielding, 1 point in Fortification for additional ward, but you can't retaliate, 5 points in Barrier, and 3 points in Prismatic Buffer, with the last 3 points in Dilation. And then for Disintegrate itself, we have this set up so that you can get to tier 3 beam. So you'll do the most damage you can possibly do. It will take a few seconds to get there. We also have the dual beam, mana gained on kill, and extended range while converting it to all lightning. We got 3 points in feedback so that we could unlock the 1 point in escalation. So you unlock Disintegrate tier 2 for 150% more damage. 1 point in amplification for tier 3, which can do 300% increased damage. 1 point in electrify to convert everything to lightning damage. 5 points in galvanized defense, so you take 35% less damage while channeling. Disintegrate. 5 points in searing plasma for 50% more damage. 1 point in twin beam, so you have 2 beams instead of 1. 1 point in subvention, so that you get 8 mana gained per kill with Disintegrate, which, like I said before, is going to give you a ton of mana back. 2 points in temporal entrapment, 1 point in 𝐒𝐭𝐬𝐽, and 1 point in extension for that additional range. Now, if you only have 20 points in this, that's fine. You can take 2 points out of searing plasma. If you'd also like to experiment with stored power, I don't like it because it takes such a long time for Disintegrate to start, and you'll get hit a few times in that time, which can ultimately lead to you dying. You can get 50% more damage for just 1 extra point. For passives, I have 25 points in the base Mage class with 7 points in Scholar, 8 points in Arcanist, and 10 points in Knowledge of Destruction. For the Spellblade, we got 6 points, all 6 in Elemental Affinity for that Elemental Resistance, and then 81 points in the Mastered Sorcerer with 8 points in Calculated Destruction, 8 points in Brainstorm, 10 points in Wisdom, 8 points in Seronomancer, 5 points in Rift Bolt, 8 points in Crackling Precision, 5 points in Arcane Obliteration, 8 points in Elemental Ascendance, 5 points in Archmage, 5 points in Spellslinger, 1 point in Chronomancy, and 10 points in Arcane Insight. And again, with this build, you're basically just taking as much critical strike chance, especially spell critical strike chance, that you can get. Items, idols, blessings, and uniques. There are 2 uniques that you will need. There is the Gambler's Fallacy. Like I have said, this is a quest item that you can get early on in the game for turning in a quest into Artem instead of to the lady next to Artem. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. So you can get that quite early. You only have to be level 1 to wear it. And then we have the Ignavár's Head, which requires level 50. And as soon as you get this, this is when the build comes together, because this is what allows Disintegrate to deal more damage equal to your spell crit chance. And then Gambler's Fallacy gives you 100% base spell crit chance, so all your increased spell crit chance increases that 100%, making it very easily possible to get to 1,000% spell critical strike chance, which is what's allowing you to have 1,000% more damage with Ignavár's Head. So like I said, if you don't have the combination, you're going to do about 10 times less damage, so it definitely comes together once you get this. For idols, you can run anything that you want. For me, I'm running a high life version of this where we leech. You can do a low life version, just make sure you don't take any leech, and wear 𝐒𝐦𝐬𝐢 in the boots instead and stack a ton of health. You can do low life, you can do high life, it doesn't matter. In this case, we are doing high life. But for the idols, we're basically just trying to get our resistances. You can also get increased lightning damage, doubled if you have over 300 max mana. You can also get increased critical strike chance and elemental resist on a 1x4 to really help you out with those resists, as well as giving you a more damage since it's critical strike chance. For items, nothing super special. We have a Scepter on. The reason for the Scepter is to get the lightning damage leached as health, which is really helpful for the build. Again, you can get spell damage leached as health while channeling. You can get that on both the chest and the helm. I only have it on the helm in this build. And then in your passives, you can get more lightning damage leached as health. And then on top of that, you can also on the Rhea timeline get the blessing to have spell damage leached as health as well. So you can get a ton of leech while channeling for all the lightning damage we're doing. I'm just going to hover over the rest of these. This build planner will again be in the description below, as well as in the written guide like always. Same thing for the blessings. I don't have the spell damage leeches health blessing, but I put it in here just to make sure you guys could see that's what you wanted. I also do not have this increased armor. You can get 750 flat armor while channeling, and you can get 70% increased armor. Now, some of my gear does have increased armor on it, so this 750 flat, if you have both of these together, you're looking at getting 3,000 flat armor, or roughly in there if you have increased armor on your helm, your chest, or on your boots. And that's going to boost you with another 20 to 30% damage reduction, which is huge for the build. So definitely work towards those if you can get them. For the character sheet, as you can see, we have just over 1800 health. You can see that I'm capped on my elemental, my physical resist, still working on poison, necrotic, and void. I could get more of that through idols and probably cap those out that way. You can also get better stats on gear than I have. There's no exalted gear. Nothing's maxed on this. So you can definitely get those capped out. For armor, we have about 20% armor. But again, if you have the flat armor, so here I only have 740. I could double that just from having the exalted, or not the exalted, but the empowered blessing of flat armor, and then you could get increased armor as well in those final 2 timelines. So you can definitely boost this up to getting between 40 and 50% damage reduction through armor, which will make you feel a lot more tanky if you're working towards min-maxing it. And then you can see here we have 1,340% spell critical strike chance. Again, a lot of that's through passives, some of it's on gear, and again, that 100% base spell critical strike chance is huge that you can get from the Gambler's Fallacy interaction. You can definitely get more than this with tier 7 affixes of spell critical strike chance on all the places you can roll it. You can get just over 2,500% spell critical strike chance, which is absolutely ridiculous. So you can definitely end up doing almost twice as much damage as this build is doing if you really build into it and look for a lot of exalted items. For defense, you can also see we're not capped on endurance. We do, however, capped out on our critical strike avoidance for all of this gameplay. And then as we move towards the training dummy, I like to put Flame Ward on autocast, and then after that, you really just kind of teleport around and then just kind of disintegrate everything. Now, if you obviously cast Disintegrate for a longer period of time, it's going to start taking more and more mana. You can see here we're doing between 300 and 400k ticks of damage on the training dummy, which is huge. Of course, if you do run out of mana, you want to focus, get that mana back. And of course, you always can just kind of tap everything. You notice when you just tap it with Disintegrate, you're doing about 100k damage if you hit them with both beams right off the bat, which is about 10k damage against level 100 mobs, which is a pretty decent good hit for just being able to zap them from a little bit of a distance. And you can do this all day, and your mana is not going to go down very much. On top of that, for every kill that you get, you're going to get that 8 mana back, which is huge for being able to just speed run through echoes and have mana full the entire time and not have to stop and focus. And then again, you can always throw down Arcane Ascendance. So if we're go ahead and do our damage here and then we throw down an Arcane Ascendance, you can see we're going to hit for even more damage here. We hit for about 330k there. If you get a little closer and have all the mana, you can actually get closer to 400, almost 500k, depending if both beams are hitting the training dummy. Either way, it hits for a ton of damage, and it's just a fun way to play Disintegrate. One of the more viable ways to play it. You know, you have this way, and then you also have the Lightning Blast procs. But this one's actual Disintegrate damage, which is really cool. Alright, that's going to be it for this build guide. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you stay safe, and enjoy some gameplay.
Eternity of pain, unchanging. Why do you resist? Chains return, but what of your